Hi there, beautiful souls watching. Welcome and thank you. I'm Gabrielle, retired medium in Germany, and I like to share some of my otherworldly experiences and insights. So, this one is about you are music. Find your voice. And as music is vibration, aka feelings, you vibrate with feelings. Frequency and sound is what creates light and creates everything. The world came into being or existence by sound, as the ancient Hindu texts say, with the saying Nada Brahma, the world is sound. So I dedicate this one to a little bit of a musical information, which I found out by myself, although I wasn't interested in music when I was young. At school, we had these sea flutes, and their piping was kind of high pitch and never sounded really good, and I didn't like that. So when I was a bit older, at the age of 18, I tried the typical guitar that everyone starts more or less with, and found out no, it's not working for me. Now I know why, because now I know a little bit more. It's a harmony instrument, as the piano as well. And this is kind of too complicated for me. I was attracted later by, so to speak, the wind instruments, which are um, all the kind of blowing instruments you use, like the sax or the flute and so on, because that is a melody instrument. And your voice is also kind of a melody instrument, and they all kind of depend on how you use the column of air that you breathe in. And later on, I tried several. I tried the traverse flute, and I tried playing the oboe because I loved the sound of it. It's also called the angel's horn. Maybe that was something, without knowing it, that attracted me. And I always loved these pop songs from, I think it's an Indian musician, Tanita Tikaram, who introduced the oboe into the pop music, and it was just wonderful. I loved it. Well, it's a very difficult instrument to learn and to play, because it has these kind of double reed, or how's it called? I think it's reed blades that you have to put into the mouthpiece, and you need to train your whole muscular area of the mouth to not press it, so that no sound or not enough wind is going through it, but to have the right pressure that is coming more from the side, to press it a little bit but have it still open. And to have a good tone in every wind instrument or blowing instrument, you need to work with the air and the air column. Then I switched to the saxophone, which has only one reed blade, but you also need to train and practice every day your muscles to have the right pressure, because if you don't, well, you might get a tone out of a sax, but after a few seconds it's just and nothing else, because you don't have the trained muscular part of your chin region exercised. And when I got older, I had this growing interest in music, had a lot of friends that were musicians, and I always sat around and hung around and chilled around with musicians and admired them kind of from silently from afar, because they were able to play together and create music in kind of freestyle sessions, and that was what I loved. And I always had this feeling there is some kind of music within me, but I couldn't bring it out. And I wanted so strongly and deeply to bring this kind of sound or music out. And only when I started getting occupied with singing, toning, and the voice, I got the clue that helped me very much along. Because all the kind of classical and traditional bringing up in music, at least in the Western world, is kind of thinking you create sound with your voice, your vocal cords, which are nothing else like kind of thin membranes that open up or close to produce certain tones. So all the focus is here on the throat chakra, and mostly we only breathe up into the chest area and not any deeper, and that's it, you know. You are not just this column of air that you breathe in. My oboe teacher once told me to endure long tones and get a good tone in the oboe playing. He said, well, you have to breathe in kind of through your sides and through your stomach. Well, I didn't understand it then, because how can you breathe in through your sides and not through your lungs or your mouth? But the important hint was that you just imagine and you get your focus of attention and consciousness to the lower belly region as if you are breathing in from there. And that just opens up your feeling. You become kind of more than just your body and the borders of your physical vessel. You kind of just imagine that you are much bigger, that you are kind of a round ball, which actually is true because we are all a microcosm, which is a circular or spherical field around us, filled with energy, vibration, frequency, and sound. And there is a very interesting, a bit more modern access to music coming from Italy. It's called in original Italian inhalare a voce. That means inhale the voice. So if you inhale the voice and the tone that is already there in the field, you're not focused on creating it here, because then you get this kind of under pressure singing, trying to press out a tone or a note. You just inhale and then you let it out, you know. That's kind of a freeing process. So if I don't know whether I'm able to still create from here. If I start making, for example, an ah sound just from here, well, it doesn't have real volume, and I feel and think there is something missing. And I was lucky to have the friend of a friend who was a professional vocalist and singer, and she had gone through all this classical musical education like me as well. And I never liked it when my transverse flute teacher kind of chased me through all the Western classical music. I wanted to improvise, and I had to play for 1 year the Mozart and all that stuff. And it continued with the oboe and with the sax. I got a little bit of more of the jazz influence, but it wasn't kind of free. It was still in a system, and you had to do this and that and this step and so on. Of course, now I understand you need at least a little bit of technique and basics to be able to improvise freely. So this friend of a friend gave me a few lessons in music, and she was all about singing from the middle, and the middle of your whole body or system is the belly region. So if you inhale and focus with your attention on kind of the wide open space that you are, especially in the middle, the center region of your body, and then create an A by just inhaling and then letting it out without pressure and doing anything here in the throat chakra region. Ah. I think the ah has much more volume. I hope you could hear the difference between these two. So if you like singing or toning, and toning is a very good exercise, that's why I made on my channel this one video, toning through the chakras, accompanied by me using the Shruti box, which creates a constant kind of underlowing bass tone, the Bodun tone. And then you don't feel so alone when you're toning. But that changed my voice so much, you know. That vocalist, music, singing teacher told me, "Oh, you have a very fine voice that will never be very strong or very loud." And since I'm toning, it changed totally. It's fuller, has more volume. I get deeper and higher as well, because when you go deep, it's much easier to access the other end of the spectrum, the higher notes. And well, my voice changed a lot by that, and I found a lot of pleasure in just toning. And after a while, already just by itself, overtones appeared. And then I was into overtones, and I'm also into self motivated learning to go after what sparks your interest and not follow any system or construct. You have to do this and that and that and so on, which to me is kind of boring because I'm impatient. But a little bit of basis and practice is needed. So singing from the middle and imagining that you kind of draw in the air to breathe and exhale the tone by exhaling this in-breathed air from more than just here through the mouth and the column of the air, but just through your whole body and your belly region, you get a much fuller tone, and that brings more pleasure and joy in singing. What I find a bit sad is that most people don't sing. They just use earphones and they listen to music from other people, but they don't create their own music. They're not on the journey discovering themselves. After getting lost in the flow of sound, be found again and discover another self inside of yourself. So that's kind of a bit spiritual to me already. And it's so sad that people, when they sing, sing the songs of other people. And that is mainly about the text. So you're in your brain again and you have to memorize the text to sing a song from another person. That's why I love toning just with the vocals or Tibetan sounds. Because to me, they have no meaning. There is nothing attached to it. I can't remember the text of songs, but I can remember simple mantras in Sanskrit. This is very interesting to me, you know. A different language which I don't know, I'm not able to use or read Sanskrit, but I can remember the Om Mani Padme Hum or the Gayatri Mantra easily, and I have difficulties to kind of learn and train some English text of a pop song. So I just stick with the sounds and making sounds by vowels and coming more from the middle. So I think you should be inspired to find your own tone. It's usually a little bit lower than the pitch on which you speak, but just experiment and try it out. Inhale very deeply, focus into the belly region as if the tone is coming from there, and really it is coming more from there than from here, from the throat. And find your voice, and then experiment with your voice. You are a musical instrument. You have everything you need. You have vocal cords that can open and they resonate, same as the skin of a drum resonates when you speak near to it or sing near to it. So this, the vocal cord, is actually, in truth, just resonating with what is already there in the field. You inhale it and then you just let it out. You're not producing a sound, you're not forcing sounds out, you just let it happen. And that's a total different approach. And I think it's much freer and alleviating from all this kind of pressure from musical learning systems and constructs if you just try like a child, whatever sound you can produce and what's coming out, and it doesn't have to be a word. And I don't like singing songs of other people. I'm still in search for the music, my own sound, and the overtones are helping a lot because I love just making sounds, and not singing words and putting meaning to a text, even if it's wonderful and poetic, but it distracts from just the instrumental music. And I came across a video from a guy, can't remember the name, too many names, too many videos I already saw and watched, who kind of translated the sounds of all the planets of a complete, not distracted planetary system called TRAPPIST-1. Every planet rotating is making a noise and on the orbit, and that sounds like a technical sound, a deep humming if it's a big planet, or like in our star system, the Mercury is kind of a higher pitched, little bit mechanical sounding humming or clicking, nearly electronically sounding. And this guy translated the frequencies of the planets in the TRAPPIST system into music. And guess what? A wonderful symphony. They all harmonized and played together. All the planets created a wonderful symphony, like as if you would listen to an orchestra playing. And I was so fascinated by that. Every organ in our body has kind of a bit of a different frequency. That's why the natural instruments in 432 resonate 432 hertz resonate much more with us, because these are the natural sounds. It's said to be the frequency of your heart. So I hope you're inspired and try out a little bit with your voice and use the different approach, that you're just letting out the tone that is already there, and that you find your voice and your pitch and play around with it and have some fun, because singing really makes you happy. I am proof of that. Today I already sung a little bit and toned a bit, and I'm happy for no reason. And I just like it. You're in a much better positive state. So that's it for today. I wish you a lot of fun and discoveries in sound and the music that you really are. Blessings, love and light to you, beautiful souls watching. Thank you. Blessings unto you and your soul path. Bye.